your source for news, politics, sports, and all things trending. Here's your host, Marcus Gentry.
All right, thank you for all my listeners out there that's joining me on this beautiful Sunday. Today's show is going to be about the Civil War and how it has a direct connection to the politics and the policies and the things that's going on in our government today. Now, before we get into that, I want to start by first doing my recap over some things that happened in my first show. You know, I keep getting good reviews and good things happening from my very first show. And the good things that happened off the first show that I have to bring to you is that officially I got hired with the company that I was talking about with the trade lines. I can actually sit down with people in the community that I know, and I can help you get a higher credit rating and build your credit report. So that's one good thing I want to bring to you. You know, I can literally sit here in my office with you or talk to you over the phone, and I have a back door into their system to where I can officially sell you trade lines to add to your credit report. So that's the first thing I want to bring to you. Now, the second thing I want to bring to you is the Masonic journals. I haven't did it yet, and I've been trying to get some more information and things built up so I can bring to the community some good things that we're doing in the community. And the first information I have to bring to you is the email address. The email address is masonicjournal@gmail.com. Again, that's masonicjournal@gmail.com. And any of you sisters and brothers out there that have upcoming charity events in your community that you want to send to me, I'll advertise it live for 4 weeks. That means you have to send it to me a month ahead of time. And this is going to be a good thing for you and your community. It don't matter where you are in America. The information I'm going to need in the email is your worshipful master's name, your matron mother. I need a contact number that way we can call and verify, because I don't want to put something on the air that's not legit. And then I'm going to need the name of the event, the charity event, or the picnic, or the book bag giveaway, or whatever you're doing in your community. It can be some work at the VA. You know, you're helping out the veterans. Whatever you're doing in the community, in your community, contact me through that email and give me all the pertinent information I need to know the time, the date, you know, where they can meet up at. And we'll get that out there to the public. So that will be the Masonic Journal. Moving forward, I'm going to do that on every show. Now, this week's Masonic Journal, I have some information from Nimrod 9, which is my lodge. You know, we did get Lodge of the Year. I'm proud of my brothers and myself for helping out with that. And we doing good things in the community. We've already worked the Titans game last night. It was tiring, but sometimes you got to put in a little extra work if you want good positive things done in your community. And we mostly will probably work all of the Titans game except for the away games. But if you're in Nashville and you're at the Titans game, more than likely you can find us at one of the booths. So, you know, stop by and say hi. You know, we're going to be in there, and I want to give, a special shout out to Assyria Chapter 2. The lovely ladies of Assyria Chapter 2, they helped us out. And, they'll be in there too. You know, they do good work in the community too. And you ladies, send me any information you have about charity events and things that you're doing in your communities. Also, we have a Jean and Blazer party coming up on the 12th of next month. You know, the brothers of Nimrod 9, I think they're going to throw a party on the 12th of next month. I got to get a little more information on that one, like the time and the place. So over the next week or two, I'll be updating on that. We also have a nonprofit organization called Scrub. Now Scrub is something I'm really anxious about. We haven't. It's a nonprofit, but I haven't gotten all the details on it, and I'm gonna go more in depth on it on the weeks to come. But Scrub is successful citizens recovering from the urban blight. Now, this is a youth program to help minorities and basically anybody, if you're in need. But, we're trying to help people in the community that have kids who are out here, just doing anything. We trying to give them a better way. And one of their mission statements is to join hands with and partner with participants, communities, and local agencies to counsel, educate, and guide children and youth into better physical and psychological health. Now, this is serious, people, because psychological and mental health is very needed in our communities. We have a lot of people in our communities that are flagging behind in mental health. And I'll probably be trying to over the few weeks, reach out to people that I can talk to over the phone and maybe get them connected to where we can have phone numbers for people in our community to call when they need mental health issues. So that's the Masonic Journal for today. Okay, now moving forward, like I say, send me any information you have on events and things that's going on in your communities at least a month out. That'll give me time to verify some things, and then you got free advertisement. I'm gonna put it out there. I'm gonna put it into your communities. I'm gonna let the people know what's going on with you and with your area. And it's a good thing for other brothers and sisters in your area who might be traveling. I might know some information about some brothers down in Texas, and someone might be visiting their mom or their aunt or their family members in Texas, and they want a fellowship with some brothers or sisters down there. So they'll know where the charity event is, where they can go and sit and fellowship with some people and maybe help out. So this is a good way to connect with other brothers and sisters all over the United States. All right, now let's get into the show. The show is about the Civil War and how it connects to today's policies and politics. You see, what a lot of us minorities in the community got to understand is that the Confederacy never had the head removed from his body. And I'm going to put that in context with you where you can understand it. That's why people listen to me. I have over 400 subscribers on my YouTube channel, thousands of views. People are watching this, people, because I'm bringing real stuff to you that you can understand, and not only understand, but you can go look it up yourself. This is real stuff. It's not nothing I'm making up. The Confederacy never had the head of the body removed from it. And if you know history when it comes to American policies with drug lords, mafia bosses, military leaders, when we go in, we take the head. The body bumps around a little while, and then we pacify it. Japan, when we dropped the bombs, they surrendered. And then we went in, pacified them. Now they selling us some of the top brand TVs in the world. Germany, Adolf Hitler. The man wanted to start a blonde-haired, blue-eyed race of supermen. We went in, destroyed him in a bunker. My mother went to Germany a few years back, and she said, "Son, it's so many black people in Germany, it almost looks like America." So I can give you examples of mafia bosses and mafia syndicates where the FBI go in, incarcerate the top head, the mob leader, and 2 or 3 of his lieutenants, and the rest of the mob is dead. They just floating around. They junkies. They turn into junkies. They go around doing petty crimes. These people are basically dysfunctional. And then they fade away. And the Confederacy never lost its head. And I'm going to explain it to you. 1865, when Lee surrendered to Grant, they'll talk to you about, how dignified he rode in and, surrendered and signed the papers over. What they don't tell you in the history books that you can find out yourself is the Confederacy. They sent these people home. You had to turn in your muskets. You had to turn in your weapons, and they sent you home. The leaders of the Confederacy, they detained. They locked them up for a year or two. And when they locked these people up, after a year or two, they made them sign papers saying that they would never rise against the United States again. They'll never take up arms against the United States again. And they can never go back into government. And then they sent them home. Now, these people were sent home and treated as heroes. These people had 10, 20 years after the Civil War, statues built in their honor. The same statues we trying to tear down today. Places like Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Arkansas, Texas. We got to understand history to find out where we're going. Because these people never had the head chopped from the body. They were detained for a year or two, but the government didn't know what to do with these people because they were considered heroes in the southern states. These people actually had their own president. Jefferson Davis, I think that's his name. The man had his own presidency, his own vice presidents. They even had a Congress, and what y'all got to realize is if you chop the head off the body, people like Nathan Bedford Forrest wouldn't have never started the Klan. See, I got to make you think about this. He signed those papers. And when he got home, he was treated as a hero. But he had to witness Black Americans, or what he called Negroes, walking around free. Y'all got to understand this. The reason he wore the hood when he started the Klan is because you had platoons of Union soldiers stationed around the South. These platoons of Union soldiers, if somebody went to them and told them that Nathan Bedford Forrest was running around here killing and hanging black people, they were going to arrest him because he signed those documents saying he would never take up arms against the United States. But if they would have executed these people or locked them up in a jail cell for 20 or 30 years or 40 years or gave them life, they would have decapitated the head of the Confederacy. Now, I'm not saying racism would have died altogether. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is we never had that outcome like we have when we go into places like Iraq, Afghanistan. Look at Saddam Hussein. They killed his sons, hunted him down, found him in a hole. Now, I'm not saying he didn't deserve it. The man was a murderer. But they hunted the man down and found him in a hole, people. Executed him. And now his people are just bumping around. They're leaderless, trying to find their way. And if you give it 60 years after America pacifies it, you're going to see Walmarts and Kentucky Fried Chickens and all kinds of stuff popping up all over that country. Because that's how it works. This is chess, people. This is not checkers. They play for the long-term goal. Reagan did that to us. Chopped the head off our body. Got black Americans walking around here, bumping around and everything for 10, 20 years. All our uncles and cousins and big brothers and them, they gone. They locked up 20, 30 years. Then they slowly pacify. And I'm going to break this down for my listeners like for when I break it down to them and keep it simple. You know, you go in the yard, for you people in the South, you go in the yard and you get your chicken and you whack his head off and just let him go. That chicken is going to run around the yard bumping into everything. Then you put your foot on it until all the blood leak out of it and it stop moving. Then you can pick it up and pluck it, cook it, marinate it, bake it, whatever you want to do with it. You can mold it how you want to mold it. You see, I just used an analogy to show you what America and this government, and mostly any government, if they smart, what they do when they have people and other governments that contest them. They cut the head off, the main people that rile them up, and the rest of the body is leaderless and rudderless. And then they slowly pacify it. That never happened to the Confederacy. It never happened. These people went back home as heroes. They could never get back into government again. They had to sign that paperwork. It says you will never take up arms against the United States, and you can never get back into government. But that don't mean they stop having babies. That don't mean they stop preaching their hatred. You know, these people are still in our government. The great-grandson and great-granddaughters of the Confederacy, they still here. They send their kids into government. You know, we send our kids into the football field and the basketball field. This is entertainment. What you got a statue for? You lost. I'm going to break that down for you again. Say you LeBron James. You get up all the NBA basketball players, the stars. You go over to China. And China hand you your ass. They beat you. Then you come back home. You got everybody in Ohio trying to build a statue of LeBron James and give him medals. What you got a statue for? You lost. You lost. So you got to understand the long game about these people. They amongst us right now, especially if you live in the South, but that don't mean nothing because over 100 and something years, over 160 years have passed. So they're not just in the South. They're in the South, but they're not just in the South. Donald Trump's dad got caught at a Klan rally in New York. New York was a bastion, a stronghold of the Union Army. Donald Trump's father, and it's proven, it's in the records. You can look it up. His father got caught at a Klan rally in New York. These people are in our society. They're your next door neighbors. Now, I got to give you a disclaimer because I don't want you to think that I'm trying to rouse you up to hate white people. That's not what I do. That's not what I'm doing. There are some white people and Caucasians out here that will fight by your side against tyranny and racism. You got to understand that. Some of them have been bamboozled too. You see, what happens is they infiltrate the white people that ain't with the racism by talking about taxes and guns. They're going to take your guns. They're going to take your taxes. Now, these skinheads now, these are the racist people. You know, they rile them up. They rile the white people up that ain't got nothing to do with racism. They're going to take my taxes. They're going to take my guns. And the whole time, the people pulling the strings are the Confederacy. They ain't never left nowhere. the Lindsey Grahams of the government, the Jeff Beauregard Sessions of Alabama. Who names their kid Beauregard? That was his name, Jeff Beauregard Sessions, the man who just got fired from being the Attorney General. I think William Barr is the Attorney General now. Y'all got to pay attention to this. The man's name, Jeffrey Beauregard Sessions. That's a direct link back to the Civil War. People ain't been called Beauregard since the Civil War. Y'all not understanding this. I'm understanding because I'm an avid a reader of history. I love history, you know, and with me, it's like I can see things other people can't see. I see it, but I can't do nothing about it. You know, it's hard to tell somebody who getting a little tools and fuse out here in the streets, you know, a little quick money, and he's uneducated, you know, hey man, you know, the Confederacy, they out here. They ain't playing with you. You know, you start talking to him about history. He ain't trying to hear what you got to say. He's been pacified. It's over with for him. He's pacified. But you got some people out here that's waking up. They woke. You know, they waking up. You know, they woke. My thing is the people that's waking up, sometimes they go too far. I'm going to get into that too later on. But right now I got to take a commercial break. And when I come back, I'm going to jump forward 100 years. Because I'm not done with the Confederacy. They still here. I'm going to tell you a name of a man who struck fear in the hearts of Black America all across this country back in 1960. You see, the Civil War was fought again for the second time. A lot of us don't even realize it because it was fought with politics. It wasn't fought with guns and bombs and muskets. So when I tell you this next man's name, it's going to mess some of y'all up. You're going to pull up on your 60-year-old uncle, not your uncle, but your great uncle. Your uncle who's 30 or 28, he ain't going to know nothing about this. He's pacified. Pull up on your 60-year-old uncle, the one that keep that bottle of whiskey in his back pocket, the cool one that comes in talking junk. Pull him up and say, you know, George Wallace. He gonna look at you like, man, where you hear that name from? Don't ever say that name to me again. Ask your 60, 70-year-old uncle, the cool one with the whiskey in his back pocket, the one that always come around talking crap, talking junk. Ask him who George Wallace was, and we're gonna get to George Wallace when I come back off this commercial break. As I said here on the Daily Read, I always like to bring good things to the community, you know, things that can help you out. Now, reading Headstart is a huge part of a child's development. In the early stages, it should be shared experience between parent and child. Now, each of us can take a life and part of building and a strong imagination, love, and the love of storytelling, and an interest in learning. Now, reading Headstart is a program that I brought to my channel, and I'm always post it on my channel because we got to start our kids off young, people. You know, by the time they 16 and 17, they're already, to me, pacified. I'm not saying that they can't be brought back to consciousness, but, you know, you got Chinese people starting their kids off martial arts at 5. They be the best in the world by the time they 25. You know, these kids that start off martial arts at 20, you know, they might be good, but, you know, it ain't no comparison. And that's what I mean. So I'm going to leave a link in the description to this program. If you go on my YouTube page, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and subscribe to me now. I'm going to bring it to you every Sunday at 12 o'clock. In the description in the link, I'm going to leave the link to Reading Headstart. It's a good program. It'll help your kids out a whole lot. All right? Now I'm going to get back off this commercial break. All right, people, this is the Daily Read, and I am your host, Marcus Gentry. Now, we was just talking about the Civil War and how it connects with today's politics and policies. And I left you on a cliffhanger. You know, pull up your uncle, man. He's 60, 70 years old, the cool one with that bottle of whiskey in his back pocket. And you ask him about George Wallace, you know, his eyes might pop out the skull because he never would think that you would even heard that name before. You know, and to do a quick recap, as I was saying earlier, the Confederacy never lost the head of its body. They're still around here kicking alive and well. They're still here. While they're sending their kids into politics, we're sending our kids into entertainment. You see, there's a difference. You can make money and millions in entertainment, but it's not enough to affect world-changing events. You know, it's not enough to move nations. You know, Jay-Z might be powerful enough with all the money he has to affect things in Marcy projects in New York, or you know, donate to his favorite senator. But he's not powerful enough to make moves across this globe. That's what politics does. Politics overshadows the money. You know, when bombs start dropping, they're not going to care about no Jay-Z. So these people are raising their kids and pushing them off into government, politics, teaching them how to debate, teaching them how to win elections. And we're sticking football and basketballs in our kids' hands. Now, I'm not advocating for kids to stop playing sports. You got to have an outlet when you're in these inner city projects and the inner city. You got to have an outlet, people. I'm not advocating for kids to stop playing sports. What I'm saying is you got to know and teach your kids that eventually your talent runs out. And I'm going to get into that before I get to George Wallace, because some of y'all need to know this. I should save this for another program, but I'm not. I found out my talent ran out when I got to a junior college. I was a hell of a football player and I was a mediocre basketball player. I went to junior college. I was a walk-on for the basketball team. They didn't pick me for the football team. Now, mind you, now I was a good football player and a mediocre basketball player. Basically, to make a long story short so I can get back to the main topic, my talent ran out. And what happens is I've seen situations where young black men and young women, when their talent run out, they don't want to let it go. It usually runs out for most in high school. So in high school, they need to be trying to find them something else to do and hopefully to benefit their community. Because I've seen star football players in high school. I'm talking about these guys in the newspaper every week scoring touchdowns. They out here catching the ball for 40-yard passes. They out here doing all kinds of amazing things, amazing feats. And as soon as they graduate high school, a year later, you see them on somebody's porch smoking a blunt. 2 years later, you see them drunk somewhere with 2 or 3 kids. 2 or 3 years after that, you done heard a rumor they smoking crack. And then you point to your homeboy and say, hey man, that dude right there, he was cold in high school, man. I'm talking about the baddest thing, man. Baddest thing moving. He was bad. He was cold. He ain't gonna believe you. He's like, man, dude, the junkie. So basically what I'm trying to tell you is don't stop your children from participating, but also put it in their mind that sooner or later your talent runs out. Very few make it to the pros. And even the ones that do make it to the pros, they only last a year. All them people they drafted this year for the NFL, I say 70% of them, they're going to last 1 year, maybe get 100,000, enough to buy them a nice house, and you will never hear from these people again. The top 3 or 4, you're going to hear about them for the next 5 years. But the rest of them people that got drafted, you ain't going to hear about them. They're going to fade away into the darkness. Because some people talent runs out once they hit the NFL. Some people talent runs out once they hit college. Some people talent runs out in high school, which is the majority. And they need to find something to do to help themselves, their family, and their communities by the time that talent runs out. And most of us ain't even focusing on that. Now let's get back to George Wallace. Okay. George Wallace, the man struck fear in the hearts of Black America in 1968. But actually, John F. Kennedy. Okay, let me backtrack a little bit, because the Second Civil War was fought in 1968, but the reason why it was fought is because of John F. Kennedy. You see, back then, the Republicans were racist, but they were the type of racists where you stayed over here, black people, we stay over here, and everything cool, you know. The Republican black racists back then were the type that if you looked at a white woman, they'd say, hey, move along, you know. Now, the Dixie Democrats back then, they were the type of racists where you had a house, they're going to burn it down. You had a business, they're going to burn it down because you ain't supposed to have that. That's the difference. And I know some of y'all thinking, how in the world did we black folks live through that? It's because we picked the lesser of two evils. And we rolled mostly with the Republicans, since the Republicans were the party of Lincoln back then. What happened was a Prince Charming named John F. Kennedy and his brother Bobby decided that this racism wasn't getting us nowhere. So he started including minorities in the Democratic Party. A lot of Democrats, Dixie Democrats, the Confederacy, because like I said, they never had the head cut off the body. They didn't like that. They didn't like seeing afros and dark brown skin and brown skinned people in the Democratic Party. They didn't like that. So a lot of us blacks that love John F. Kennedy moved over to the Democratic Party. You see, this is chess, people. They playing chess. Of course, John F. Kennedy got killed, and the Democrats couldn't stop what he already done started in motion. John F. Kennedy and his brother Bobby started the takeover of the Democratic Party by minorities. And that's basically what we have done. But then a few years later, here comes George Wallace, who led basically a second civil war. I'm going to read you a quote from what the man said. I'm not going to read it to you. I got it ingrained in my head. He said, I draw the line in the sand. Segregation now, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever. And the crowd went crazy. The crowd went crazy, people. Don't that sound familiar? Don't that sound like Donald Trump? How he called Mexicans rapists and killers? and the crowd cheered, same strategy, same thing. Ask your uncle about him, your grandmama, about George Wallace. He led a second civil war in this country, and he lost the second time. You know, if George Wallace would have became president, we wouldn't have never had the civil rights that we have today. It wouldn't have been no continuation of no marching. Police had already beaten up our civil rights leaders and put them in jail and let them go. Beat them up, put them in jail, let them go. George Wallace wasn't that type of dude to just beat you up, put you in jail. He gonna make sure you don't march again. Matter of fact, you might disappear. So that's what was going on back then with George Wallace. Even white people were scared of this man. And by the grace of God, he never became president. We won. This is the second Civil War, people, that some of y'all don't even know nothing about. So like I told you, the minorities in this country took over the Democratic Party, and all the bigots in the Democratic Party, the Dixie Democrats, the Confederacy, they ran over to the Republican Party. Because the Republican Party, they were racist. They just wasn't as bad as the Democrats. Okay? They were bigots. You know, Richard Nixon didn't like black people. But as long as you stayed in your area, he wasn't going to mess with you. But if George Wallace would have became president, he would have came in your area and put his foot on your neck. That's the type of Democrat he was. So all the bigots left the Democratic Party and ran into the Republican. Now, the reason is because you have a lot of black activists out here who are trying to be righteous. And they're going around telling people, why are we Democrats anyway? Because they was the party of the bigots. They don't know their history. I'm teaching you real history. They only know half of it. What they don't realize is they're pushing black people towards the Republicans when they shouldn't be doing that. The Republicans are the Dixie Democrats. Just like we infiltrated and took over the Democratic Party, they infiltrated and took over the Republican Party. It's called the Southern Strategy. Now, let me teach you about the Southern Strategy. During the 60s, all the Dixie Democrats in the South, because most of the white people down here were Democrats at first, and they were bigots. They didn't know where to go. It was too many black faces in the Democratic Party because of John F. Kennedy. So the Republicans, like I said, being racist, they were racist too. Even though they helped free the slaves, they still were racist. They saw in the future that they was losing power. Because now that John F. Kennedy done invited all the minorities in the Democratic Party, the Republicans are going to lose power. So they started what you call the Southern Strategy. Now, the Southern Strategy is where they rile up all the racist white people in the South. You know, talk about the minorities are taking all the money from taxes because of welfare. When they don't realize that it's a majority of white people on welfare. They're telling people, you know, they're going to take your guns. They can't take your guns because it's in the Constitution. You can have it. They might be able to limit you how many you can have, but you're going to always be able to have your guns. But they rile these people up every 4 or 5 years. It's called the Southern Strategy. And the Republicans implemented this and have been perfecting it ever since. They rile these people up, rile them up, and push them straight into the Republican Party. So now you got all these Confederates and grandsons and great-grandsons of the Confederacy that left the Democratic Party and moved straight into the Republican Party. The Lindsey Grahams of the government, the Jeff Beauregard Sessions, the Mitch McConnell, Moscow Mitch. That's who these people are. The sons and daughters of the South. They don't care about you. So now we in a situation, people, we done took over the Democratic Party, and you got some activists out here who find out, little tidbits here and tidbits there about the history, and they're out here wilding out. They telling people they shouldn't be Democrats when they don't even know the real history. You even got some black folks in the Republican Party. It's crazy. Every time I see the screen and I see a black face standing behind Donald Trump, I say, it shocks me. They don't know their history. They've been pacified. I'm finna get to Ronald Reagan. Because by the time Ronald Reagan came along, the Dixie Democrats had already influenced and infiltrated the Republican Party. And whenever you hear Republicans talk about Ronald Reagan, they talk about him with such love and awe. And the reason why is because for the first time, the Dixie Democrats, the bigots of the South, had somebody in office that was going to push their policies. And the first policy they did was lopping off the head of Black America, which was the black fathers, the black head of the household. I'm going to talk about that on another show, how white people still consider the white men the head of their household, but in the black community, in the minority community, black women are the head of our households. And I'm going to tell you why that is. I'm going to talk about that on another show. But all of this ties together. Like I said, when you lop off the head of the body, everybody else bumps around and they leaderless until they put their foot on you, until you calm down and they pacify you. And then they can mold you however they want to mold you. This is stuff we got to think about, people. It's serious business. They playing chess. They're not playing checkers. They never cut the head off the body of the Confederacy. It's still alive and well. So now Ronald Reagan done came to office and he done implemented this war on drugs. But it wasn't just swooping up, minorities that was doing drugs. It's swooping up everybody. And instead of them giving them 5 years and 2 years like they've been giving you, all of a sudden they done tripled the time. They giving you 25 years, 30 years. Where did this come from? You see, they got people who think. They call them think tanks. Y'all don't know nothing about this. The government has what you call think tanks. These are people who monitor social trends in America and all across the globe. These people who monitor events and things that's going on in our communities, they knew that you take the majority of black males out of households, it's going to have a long-term damage effect on black communities. These are the people who going to put that battery in your back and go out there and fight with you. These are people who going to teach you how to fix the tire on your bike when you're a kid. See, your mother's the nurturer. Your father's the disciplinary. You take that disciplinary out, all hell breaks loose. They knew this. They've been doing it in wars. They've been practicing on it with other countries. They already knew this. So by the time Ronald Reagan became president, a full swing of lopping off the head of the minorities was in place. We got to think about this, people. They playing chess out here. And what made me mad the other day, I don't know if some of y'all watched the debates with Kamala Harris. I love her to death. She's a strong black woman. She's very intelligent. She made me so mad I wanted to throw my shoe at the TV. I'm going to tell you why. Kamala Harris knows history like I do because she's educated. I'm not as educated as her, but I am educated. Most of y'all that meet me probably won't even know it. Because I can get on the gutter level with you, or I can get on the high intense intellectual level with you. So most people that meet me don't even know it. Kamala Harris is a very intelligent woman. She got on Joe Biden the other day. Joe Biden is the only chance we have of beating Donald Trump, people. The only chance we got. She got on Joe Biden the other day because Joe Biden said, I'm proud of my record. I had to work with people like Byrd, who was a racist. She said, hold up. You proud of that, being able to work with Byrd? He was a racist. She tried to make herself look good. And she pissed me off. I'm going to tell you why. Because I know some of y'all are thinking, what is he talking about? You see, when all the Dixie Democrats ran from the Democrat Party and ran into the Republican Party, there was one person who refused to go. And his name was Byrd. He said he gonna die a Democrat. He ain't gonna let black people chase him out the Democratic Party. So he stayed. And people like Joe Biden had to work with him. She know this. She tried to make that man look like a racist. And it pissed me off. She playing politics. She hoping that black people wouldn't know the history. She was hoping that all of you looking at the debates was going to look at Joe Biden like, man, that dude a racist, man. He was working with Byrd. Let me break this down to you for the people who really can't get what I'm saying. Say you got a house, and we're going to call that house the Democratic Party. Everybody else that moved out the house that was a bigot. You got one person that's in that house that's a bigot that ain't trying to move out, you know. And you say, hey, man, you know, why don't you move up out of here? That person tell you, my name on this lease, I ain't going nowhere. I'm staying right here. You ain't chasing me up out of here. That was Byrd. Byrd was a bigot. He was a Democrat. And he was going to die a Democrat. And Kamala Harris knows this. She knew that you probably didn't know this. And she pissed me off. I love her to death. I think she got credentials later on to maybe be a president. But right now, she doesn't have it to beat Donald Trump. For 3 reasons. Number 1, her credentials ain't long enough, like Joe Biden's. Number 2, she's a black woman. She's black. And then number 3, she's a woman. I'm not saying women shouldn't be president. I think she would be a good president and better than Donald Trump. But she knows she doesn't have a chance in hell of beating Donald Trump. Joe Biden does. And she was hoping that the black vote would swing her way if she disses Joe Biden and try to get him painted as a racist. That pissed me off. You see, these people are politicians. They play little games like this. She knows history. Byrd refused to leave. He was the last holdout. He said all the Confederates done ran to the Republican Party. I ain't going nowhere. That was Byrd. Y'all got to understand the history behind this stuff, people. There's a lot of black politicians that know the history. They looking out for their own self-gain. You know, they want their own, they want to be recognized, you know. Like I called him out. Y'all see that? I called him out. The whole time you got some black people somewhere in the corner of America done heard what she said on TV and think Joe Biden's a racist. Same thing they did with Hillary Clinton. You know, the whole Monica Lewinsky thing. I know women right now that's going to confront the girl that had sex with her husband and beat her up. But you got people out here mad at Hillary Clinton for how she treated Monica Lewinsky. How many of y'all women out there going to stand by the woman that cheated with your man? Let's be realistic. You know? And then, you know, we got to know our history, people. We got to know what's going on around us. We just out here bumping around. We out here bumping around. We let people lead us down a road we shouldn't even go. I saw a young woman hold up a sign. She couldn't have been no older than 22 years old. She was at a Hillary Clinton rally. She's a young black girl. She held up a sign saying Hillary Clinton is a racist because Hillary Clinton called minorities savages and animals. This little girl wasn't even around when that happened. I was in the streets at the time. And I'm going to tell y'all what happened. You can look it up. A woman and her child went down the wrong street. This is what the police say. Now, she could have been looking for drugs. She could have been a junkie. But the fact was she had her child with her. And a group of gang members told her to get out of there. She didn't belong on that street. And they upped an AK-47 and killed this woman and her child. They killed this woman and her child. So Hillary Clinton got on TV and said these people are animals. They should be locked up for life. So now you got this 20-year-old girl who wasn't even born. If she was born, she had to be 1 year old, who wasn't even around living or damn near living when that whole incident went down, holding up a sign at a Hillary Clinton rally saying this woman's a racist. Because somebody done got in her mind, you know, somebody done put something in her mind that, you know, this white woman is racist. I call the guys an animal. I'm not finna kill no woman or her child just because she came down my block. I might tell her, get up out of here. One of my homeboys might even try to ask her for a number. Hey, give me your phone number. We ain't finna gun nobody down on no block. It was senseless. I was there. I was around when it happened. We got to start thinking, people. Because the Confederacy, they making moves. They still here. They ain't going nowhere. I'm finna take another quick commercial break, and when I get back, I'm going to talk about Barack Obama, who was the wild card, and I'm going to talk about Donald Trump. Because the Confederacy is still here, people. They never had the head of the body chopped off. I'll be right back. All right, people, like I always say, I try to bring things to the community that can help you out. Now, I had a friend of mine the other day asked me, did I know of any job opportunities? And I'm always on the search for new job opportunities to bring to my show to give to you, my listening audience. Now, data entry work online jobs you can earn from home. This is basically for the youth. It's for nursing mothers and people between jobs. You know, right now, I'm going to leave the link up in the description along with reading Headstart. So, you know, go to YouTube. Like I say, hit that subscribe button if you like my content. Hit that subscribe button, subscribe to me, and I'm going to constantly bring you good content and good things for the community every week. You know, Sunday, 12 o'clock, this is where I'm going to be at right here. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be giving it to you live. I'm going to give you some real stuff, and I'm going to give you some things that's going to help you out. You know, so you can go to any one of my videos, and down in the description, it's going to be something that can help you if you need it. You know what I'm saying? If you don't need it, it's fine. But it's going to always be something that can help you. Now, this is data entry work, online jobs. You know, you hit that link, it's going to take you to the application page. And on that application page, you can fill it in, see if it's to your liking. If you got a computer at home, you know, it's simple work, people. It's data entry. You know, you don't have to have no major degree for this stuff. All right. Now, I'm not saying, you know, all y'all uneducated out there. Some educated people out there that still might be in between work. But it's data entry work. And you can get online, fill it out, look it up, see what you want to do. You can earn you some extra. Even people that have jobs might want to get an extra few bucks at home. You know, so look it up. Get on my YouTube page. Scroll down to the description on this video. And you'll see this link. Hit the link. And I got you. All right, my people, we back. This is the Daily Read, and I am your host, Marcus Gentry. Now, I want to do a quick recap before I get to Barack Obama and Donald Trump. As I told you guys in my last two segments, the Confederacy never went away. They lost. But these people went back home as heroes. Now they've had almost 200 years to sit around and fester. In the 60s, there was a second Civil War fought. And that second Civil War came in the form of George Wallace, him and his backers, because they got tired of seeing minorities enter into the Democratic Party. Okay. We've been damaged along the route. It's not too late. Because there are people in this country who are not down with this stuff. Like I know I have associates who are black men who are trying to be conscious and righteous. And they can't stand white people. I feel sorry for them brothers and sisters that feel that way. All white people are not bigots. They're not, you know. And some people try to use that as an excuse to have hate, like whites that do hate have hate. And you shouldn't do that. That's not righteous. There are decent people out here who will stand by your side and go down in flames with you over the bigotry issue. Now, are there bigots out there among us? Yes. They still floating around here, people. They here. Out of all the things America done to organizations, to crime syndicates, to military armies, they never cut the head off of the Confederacy. These people are floating around in our Congress, in our politics right now today. And the reason why they're floating around is because over the last almost 200 years, they've been pushing their kids into politics, into education, into major universities. The whole time they have been suppressing the minority votes keeping the minority votes into entertainment, and things of that nature. We got to change that. I didn't say go out and tell your baby boy, man, you can't play football no more, man. You need to get into politics, dude. I'm not saying that. You got to show them, though, and you got to teach these youngsters that, hey, you need to get into the police force. Oh, man, I don't want to be no cop. People ain't going to respect me in the hood. But you need protection, not just from criminals, but the people on the police force. We need firemen. We need police officers that are minorities. We need that. And I used to be that way 20, 25 years ago. I used to be that way. Man, I ain't gonna be no police officer, man. I ain't be that. Nah, I ain't gonna do that. But marching ain't gonna be enough. You trying to ask somebody to change a policy of beating and killing you when all you got to do is fill out some applications and join the force yourself to ensure that people won't beat and kill you. It makes sense. Don't it make sense, people? All you have, matter of fact, the police chief in Dallas, after that shooting happened a few years back, he got on national TV. He black. He got on national TV. He said, you know what? I'm tired of all this marching and stuff going on around here. He said, man, I got positions. I got applications. Come on in here. He said, come on in here. I don't even think people moved. I don't even think they moved, people. He told on national TV, he was on CNN, he said, man, look, I'm tired of this marching stuff, man. I got applications. Come in here. Watch the watchers. The people that's supposed to be protecting your community, send some people in there to watch them. I ain't saying don't do your job. If you got to lock somebody up, lock their butt up. But keep your eyes open for the bigots. They in there. And expose them. Expose them. Put it out there. Find you a news reporter and keep in contact with them secretly. So every time a bigot do something crazy inside the police force, you send a message to him. Hey, this is what happened. Anonymously. This is what happened. We got to start maneuvering and playing chess like they play chess. Now I'm finna get to Barack Obama. Barack Obama was the wild card. Donald Trump, the right person at the right time when we had a financial meltdown. The candidate that ran against him was a good man. He was decent. He was decent people. But he didn't have a clue on how to stop the meltdown. Barack Obama was more educated than him. And that sealed the deal. So it was almost like the universe aligned at the right time for Barack Obama when the financial meltdown happened. Because people looked at John McCain, who was looking clueless, and they saw Barack Obama working hard with senators and people like that, trying to figure out this and that, what to do. The man's very smart, people. He's very intelligent. He was the right man at the right time when that financial crash happened. Now, the second time he became president is because of white women. These are the Oprah Winfrey crowd. The people who grew up 20 years and 22 years watching Oprah Winfrey on TV. The white women all crying and all that stuff. They love Barack Obama, and Barack Obama was backed up by Oprah Winfrey. So the second time he got elected, because by the second time, the Confederacy had led a campaign against him for the first 4 years because they couldn't believe that a black man that became president of this country. They thought they had everything sold up because, like I said, They cut the head off the body in the 80s. And everything else been flapping around since. And they've been pacifying us ever since. So they couldn't believe that this black man had jumped up and became president. And they led a 4-year campaign against him. So the second time he ran for president, the white women stood up. They stood up and they put him back in office. Now, Donald Trump is an opportunist and a bigot. But he's not a Dixie bigot. He's not a Confederate bigot. It's something odd about this guy. He's not a wild card because, like I said, the Confederacy has been planning all the things they're doing right now for almost 200 years. They just didn't know that they was going to have an opportunity like this. You see, what happened is Donald Trump is a Russian mob stooge. He's been with the Russian mob for a long time. So when he ran against Hillary Clinton, the Russians didn't want no parts of her because she's hard on the Russians. She's hard on most countries that's with the shit. So the Russians saw an opportunity to cause disruption in this country. The man has started a TV show because he thought Hillary Clinton was going to beat him. And he was going to lead a TV show for 4 years and do nothing but talk about Hillary Clinton. But when he won, he couldn't believe it. He had to shut that TV show down. This is facts. I'm bringing you facts, people. I don't never bring you nothing I ain't researched. Donald Trump started a TV channel that was going to talk about Hillary Clinton for the next 4 years and make money off of it. He's an opportunist. But he had to shut it down when he won. He didn't think he was going to win. That's how powerful Russia got involved in this. So, once Russia got involved in this and beat Hillary, the Southern bigots, the Confederacy, who didn't really like Donald Trump in the first place because he's not one of them. Donald Trump's father was damn near immigrant. The man just got here damn near 80 years ago because his father's an immigrant. He's a racist, but he's not one of the old guard of the racists. So they don't fool with him like that. They don't even like him. He plays around with black people too much, even though he don't like them. They don't like Donald Trump. But the opportunity presented itself. So now they protecting him. They prefer to have somebody like Mike Pence in office. But no, they got Donald Trump, and this is what they got to work with in order for the Confederacy to move ahead with their plots and plans. They playing chess, people. And once Donald Trump leaves office, they're going to throw him away because he's not a true son of the Confederacy. They're going to toss him to the wolves, the Democrats. And them folks going to lock him up, his kids and all of that. Because he is a stooge of the mafia. Y'all got to understand this history, people. He's not a wild card. He's not. They've been plotting and doing this for years. They just didn't know it was going to be him that was going to be the catalyst for what they got going on. And if you don't know what catalyst is, look it up. Look it up. It's the jump off. It's the start of something. Something that sets something in motion. That's a catalyst. They didn't realize that Donald Trump was going to be the catalyst, to push their agenda ahead. And their agenda is domination, which is something else I want to talk about, in this program, where people think that You know, I got a lot, like I say, I know a lot of black activists, and I know a lot of people from Chicago all the way down to Florida who are deeply into activism. And I hear it all the time, and when I hear it, I get up and leave. Because it's not true. It's falseness to make themselves look better than what they really know what's going on. I try to talk to them, but they don't want to listen. You see, you got some people out here that will tell you that these white folks gonna put you back in slavery. These white folks gonna segregate you again, man. If you don't do this and do that. Listen, segregation and slavery is done. That's not the objective of the Confederacy. You see, if they was gonna put you back in slavery, it would have been right after the Civil War. They can't do that now. There's too many blacks in the military. It's too many whites who like blacks and love blacks and have kids by blacks all over this country. Slavery is not an option. It's not going to happen. So the next time you hear some dude up here, man, he talking crazy, you straighten him out. Say, man, that ain't going to happen. Stop talking like that. Slavery is not an issue. It's dead. Segregation is not an issue. They're not going to try to segregate you again. Because you think that some white woman who has kids by a black guy going to allow her kids to be put into a camp somewhere? It ain't going to happen. It's going to be death in the streets. Segregation is dead. Slavery is dead. Stop it, people. All of my Afrocentric people out there who trying to live righteous, who going out here preaching, stop it. Segregation and slavery is dead. That's not the agenda. The agenda for these Confederate great-grandsons and great-granddaughters is domination and the wealth. They can't stop you from moving around this country no more. So now what they're trying to do is ensure that the wealth of this country remains in their pockets. That's the agenda. Slavery and all of that other stuff, that's a dead issue. That's over with. They can't stop that. Matter of fact, if they ever even tried it, not only will it be death in the streets, but it's going to lead to another world war. Because the United Nations is going to get involved in that. So that's a done deal. That's over with. So the agenda for these people is the wealth of this country remaining in their pockets. As long as we got Kanye's out there who got a couple of million, Jay-Z's and Beyonce got a couple of million, the Oprahs, they cool with that. They cool with that. But it would never be on an equal level. Yeah, they're going to give a few percentage of the millions and billions to the money in this country to minorities. Because they expecting them minorities that's getting that money to take care of your people. But they're going to maintain, or they want to maintain, the majority of the wealth in this country. That's the objective now. Y'all got to understand this. That's why my show is built around, trying to shorten the wealth gap in the minority community. Because I know what the agenda is. And the agenda is not slavery and not segregation. That's dead. Slavery died in 1865 and segregation died in 1968. That's over with. That's over with, people. Y'all got to understand and to recognize it. I wish I had my phone lines. I got my phone line in, but I got to get some software and things like that to start taking calls. And I will. Give me some time. Like I say, every time I do my show, I'm getting a little bit better. Just a little bit better. the software is getting a little better. You know, the way things move around here is getting a little better. Pretty soon I'll be syndicated. And once I get syndicated, I'm taking it nationwide. And I'm going to take y'all on that journey with me. I'm going to end this show today. I love all you people, man. And, you know, build your wealth and read your history and know your history. That way people can't bamboozle you. This is the Daily Read with your host, Marcus Gentry. Love y'all. Peace. All right, YouTube and Facebook. This is wraps up my third show. And I want to thank all of you for going on this journey with me. And like I said, pretty soon they're going to syndicate me. When I go syndication, man, it's going to be on. You know your history. Find your history out. Because the history deep. The Confederacy ain't gone nowhere. They still here. Peace.